How often do you feel that you are not in control of your time? Today I want to share what I believe are the 3 most important elements to consider that will help you change your relationship with time and how you get things done. Stick around to the end as well, because I also want to share how I use these 3 elements in my own life, as well as sharing some tips in how you can apply them to your own life. G'day there, Paul here. This channel is all about helping you take confident action towards your goals. Today we're going to dive into one of the important elements, and that is how we use time on a daily basis and how we can develop and build a healthy relationship with scheduling and fitting the things in that we want to achieve each day. I want to share with you guys 3 elements that I believe are really important in thinking about when it comes to determining what we're doing, when we're doing it, and how we're going about improving the way that we're doing the things that we do. The first element I want to share with you guys today is knowing what the most important things that you need to be doing today are. I think firstly it's important to remember that everything we're doing, we want to be aligned with our longer term goals. Now, I've done a previous video which I can leave a link to above on goal setting and becoming crystal clear on those longer term goals. So for this exercise, I'll assume that we've got some sense of what those longer term goals are, and we're really just still trying to clarify what's most important. Now, one method that has worked for me is a method where it was taught to me as the 4 Ds, but it's basically delete anything that's not important, delegate where you can to help others help you along the way, defer anything that doesn't need to be done today to a date in the future that will work for you, and lastly, the last D is do. Do the work that is most important to be done today. Now, if you get through the things that are most important, of course you can come back to some of those other tasks. But I think in terms of prioritizing and figuring out what is most important, this method can really help. One thing I'll just quickly say is a lot of this method is really based on that 80-20 rule, where 80% of our results are going to come from only 20% of the tasks that we put our efforts into. So there's a big opportunity to cull down the things that aren't specifically aligned to the things that we want to be achieving, and to declutter the things that we want to do and really focus on the things that are most important to us. So go through that process and come up with the things that are most important for you to do today. The second element that I want to talk to you about today is planning. We want to plan how you expect to use the time that you've got available to you in the period that you're ready to embark on. I think, looking at it in a way where you understand that if you don't plan what you're expecting to get from the time you've got available, you really are going into that period blind. I think it's really important to think about the time period that you've got available to you and allocate specific times to the various tasks that you identified as being important in that previous step, as well as allocating time for the important tasks that you want to get done. It's equally as important to allocate time towards the rest periods that you're going to need, the breaks that you're going to need. I think we want to plan our day out in a balanced way that's going to allow us to be able to get through the day, get the things done that are important to us, feel like we're not burning ourselves out, and feel like we're going to be able to build successful days on top of each other. The third and final element that I'd like to share with you guys today is to build a continuous improvement mindset and to start developing a way of always being on the lookout to improve and refine repeatable processes. Now, talking about systems and processes is often where I lose people, but hear me out. I think we could probably all agree that in a workplace setting this makes sense. If we're able to improve efficiencies, if we're able to improve quality, we're able to get some fantastic benefits from being able to make these improvements on a continual basis, which can free up time, and it can allow us to have better time management, to focus on other things. But I think this can be applied to the other things that we do as well. The jobs that we do around the house, the way that we get ourselves ready to do things in the mornings, our morning routines, for example, the way we go about our exercise and our diet and there are so many different things that we do that we could apply this mentality to be constantly on the lookout for ways for us to be able to do things in a bit more efficient way, which can free up time for us to spend time doing the things we really want to be doing. By noticing what works well and doing more of those things that work well as keeping an eye out for the things that don't quite go to plan and thinking outside the box and finding ways to update, to change, to evolve, we can develop this mindset of constantly being on the lookout for ways to continually keep moving forward. The more clarity you have in how you go about doing the things that you do regularly, the more certainty and trust you can have in the plans and your ability to be able to do the things that you need to do. The first two elements that I mentioned there around identifying what those most important things that you need to get done are, and the planning part, are examples of systems in their own right. So, they are examples of processes that you can start to mess around with and continuously keep refining and developing and seeing what works for you. And I would really just encourage you to start taking notice of all the things that you do regularly. And with this mindset, I think it does bring the ability to be able to just take notice of the things that aren't quite working and allow you to be able to make changes along the way. So how do I apply these three elements to my own life? I think these three elements have really allowed me to build a healthy relationship with time management. The ability to constantly be on the lookout for ways to do things slightly differently, I think that is huge. Working out what is most important to do today, and in doing that, you're putting everything else that might need to be done tomorrow, next week, next month. You're setting that aside for today and only focusing on the things that are most important. And I think that allows you to go into your day with a sense of calm and a sense of peace and a sense of knowing that, these are the things specifically that I need to get done today that are going to allow me to feel that sense of achievement and success at the end of the day. I think that's been huge. Things like using my calendar and, allowing me to have trust that things that aren't due today, things that are due in the days and weeks ahead, I trust that at the right time I'm going to get notified of it and I'm going to know that I need to do those things. I think that is really important. But over the years, I've managed to build these systems that allow me to do that, and that's huge. And that's what I'd really encourage you guys to do. I think, it's just starting this process of wanting to build a better, more healthy relationship with time and time management. Making that decision to want to move away from constantly thinking about everything to, narrowing down and figuring out what the most important things are today. Messing around with that daily plan, just trying a few different things. One thing I'd really encourage for you guys is not to get caught up in productivity tools. There are so many tools out there. There's so many different apps and programs, and there are so many different things that are being marketed to you guys as the solution for all of this. One thing I'd ask you to keep in mind though is, if you don't have clarity on what's most important and you don't have the mindset of constantly being on the lookout for ways to improve and make time efficiencies and improve the way that you're going about the things that you do, the tools and apps that are out there aren't really going to help you too much. They're just going to create more stress and more noise. So, I would really just recommend you guys to start small, start simple. This really is about decluttering everything, to making sure that you've prioritizing on the things that are most important now. Building those systems that are going to allow you to make sure you don't miss anything that's due in the future, and just start small. Just pick the most important thing that is due for you today or tomorrow, and mess around with ways to put that into the calendar and to make sure that you can get that done. The last thing I'd just like to ask you guys is, what can you stop doing today? Because I think that's equally as important as what do you need to start doing today. In that conversation around working out what is most important, I think it's equally as much around deciding what's in that 80% of things that potentially aren't going to lead to the success you're looking for that you can cut out altogether. So good luck, guys. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope you have got some value from this episode and that it has got you thinking about what of these little tools, tips, what have you picked up today that you're willing to commit yourself to applying tomorrow. One of the things I touched on earlier is getting ourselves into the right mindset, and often that does start with our daily routine and what we can do to set ourselves up for the day. If this is you, I'm going to leave a link to a video that I did last week on 5 tips and strategies that you can use to get your day started in the best possible way. So check that out. If you are enjoying the content, please share it around with others who you think might find some value. Please like, subscribe. I'd love to hear your comments. If you've got any feedback, comments, ideas for future episodes, please leave them in the comments section below. But that's it for now. Look after yourselves and we'll talk soon. Cheers for now.